team asked me to create this internal training on how to create a really good blog post with Claude Cowork. Now, I know that the whole blog post use case was one of the first use cases out there, and there was a lot of bad blog posts. Now I'll show you how we do it really with the SEO in mind, with the whole process in mind. So I thought that, okay, why not? I share it with the community. Let's see the feedback of this use case and workflow. If you have some better one or any feedback, let me know. What we are creating is this type of articles, where we are creating also this type of graphs, very short and to the point type of articles, like our tone and our branding and, you know, my way of writing these articles, very to the point. I'm a visual guy, and I would love also to read articles that are visual. So here is the RevOps maturity model, where it's very clear. It's for the mobile. You have stages, you have tools. They are quite complex articles, so you need to have this type of complexity maybe in some of them. Like, look at this, like really well designed, and all with AI. Also, we have here some new ones. Also, the internal links are happening, like the framework. This is image. You can skip sometimes. You don't need to make only, you don't need to code everything. This is the checklist, like really nice designed. Also, table of content, really good, you know, hook at the beginning with sources. So yeah, let me show you how it works. Let's go to some theory first, just for you to understand what's happening, and then we go into Claude. So what you need for this is important. What's the workflow, how the content and design happens, and how we publish. So prerequisite, you need Claude desktop, you need Cowork mode. For that, you need a Mac subscription. You need Claude in Chrome. If you have the Macs, any subscription, actually, Claude in Chrome works. And Claude skills. Skills are like SOPs, standard operation processes. And MCPs. MCPs are important because they are the connections. So if you are a SEO person and you want to create a blog post, you need to have SEO data. So you had the Ahrefs, the Moz, and so on. Now it became super cheap, so we can use DataForSEO APIs, and we don't even need to go through all the dashboard. We can just instruct AI how to use it and gets all the best data. Exa.ai for the web search. What's ranking, what are the articles, Firecrawl to scrape those articles to really understand them, Perplexity to do the deep research. Optionally, you can have super memory for conversation memories. I really use it a lot because I can go back and say, hey, look at the other conversation, and sometimes I ingest some memories from the other articles and some of my own thoughts on the article. That's also really good to have your point of view. And then Google Gemini for Reddit deep research, because other users might have some opinions on that, like real users, and you want to have that. So the workflow, 9 steps, brief, the most important in my view. You really need to have good brief for all the rest to work well, right? Because if you don't have good brief, it sucks. Research, both SEO and content. We'll go into it, what each means. You draft the blog post, you edit the blog post, you create graphs in Claude, then you convert them into HubSpot because it's a different way to do it. You could skip this and just do images. You could then publish it and promote, right? So understanding skills. So skills are like SOPs. They are like a standard way of doing something, right? It could be a simple skills.md file, or you could have some examples, references, and so on. So we have skills for this. All the steps have different skills. Now you have a content brief skill, which looks into the keyword, internal links, past articles, statistics, and sources. And based on a schema, it does a brief to the article. So it really understands well. And then on top of that, you put SEO research, which is the who is ranking, how hard it is to rank here, what other domain authority is there, what other related keywords are there that maybe we should target more because this one is too hard, and so on. And then we look at content research, like what do they write, what's the on-site SEO, what's the content analysis, what statistics and sources do they use, do they have do we have some quotations, some kind of citations, any kind of content gap identification. This is amazing. So this was a lot of time to do it in the past. Now we can do it in one day. We can create one really good article, right? Not to overdo it, I could say bunch of articles, but in one day, if you can create one good article, you're good to go. Then you have the draft. You create draft with very clear framework, density, bullet point, depending on how you write article, depending on your style. Here we have very clear man digital style and readability style, right? And some standards. So for that, we use some kind of a scoring system and so on. And also interlinking in implementation, so to have that interlinking. This again was a lot of time to do. Then we do editing, a lot around cliché, brevity, voice, like, you know, whatever we do, AI will have a really bad writing. It's improving, but we still use an SOP for very clear editing. And then we do content and design. Again, you can do this with AI, images also. But what we do is that we code that because it's editable. It's also fast. It's much faster. It looks better sometimes than the images. And you can do it in vectors. It's really crisp. And also it's responsive. So it's just like much better for us. We convert that later on into HTML and CSS. So yeah. So we have this graphic generator just to see the processes, and then we convert it into HubSpot. So yeah, now when we publish, we just publish it into HubSpot. And if we do images, we do it with WebP, which is like small size of image. It is like some technicalities, but it's really important for the load. And you can use Claude in Chrome extension to do all this publishing part, because it's like SOP. You record how to do it once, and then you can do it many times. And then all the SEO meta data is also generated. So here is like what slug we use and how we use it. This is also part of the SOP for Claude in Chrome. And then you index it, and maybe you make some LinkedIn posts. So this is the full workflow that we do. Now, if in terms of appendix, I also added few things like and you will be able to see it, like how to set up Claude Desktop, how to set up the MCP, what details to add, and so on. So you have a lot of details on the DataForSEO, how you set it up, what exactly you need to add, what's the actual super memory, MCP if you want to add that, Claude in Chrome, Claude skills, and all the skills references, right? So having that said, let's jump into Claude. We are in Claude Cowork. Let me show you how to set things up. So if you press Command and comma, let's add it. We go here in the settings. So first thing you want to do is capabilities, and here under capabilities you have skills. Here you can see example skills or our skills. We can add a zip file, and this is what we are actually adding, or you can make your own skills. Now, if we look at content brief, just to give you an example, here we can see on this side, there are different files in that zip, and skills.md is the actual SOP, like the guide of what to do. Next to, and this is very detailed, like you do step 1, step 3, and so on. It's quite detailed on how we do it. Then, and this is the, let's say, the secret sauce is how you do these skills. For this whole process, yes, the workflow, how you put it together, but the skills one by one is what's the most important. Then you have examples like how you want to do the brief, some kind of research example, what to research, what's the main digital angle, and so on. Then you have some references, because in the skills you have some references to different instructions or understanding a bit better. So for example, you have the copywriting instructions on how to do that whole copywriting, what's good, what's bad, and so on. Statistics, entity, several things. And also we have here a brief generator, which is a Python script that generates that brief, and also it validates it does a validator to make sure it's based on that schema, that format, that example that we actually want. So that's the skills. Then you need to have connectors, and here in connectors, you need to, don't worry about these browsing connectors, because these are pre-made connectors. You could add them if you want, but what we do here is, and this one, local dev, right? So you want to make sure that this Claude in Chrome is added. This is very, very important. And usually you can do the other MCPs here in developer, local MCP servers. You need to edit this config. In the PowerPoint, you have all the details, but you need to make sure you have this MCP Docker, DataForSEO, and this one. So these are the things you need to have, right? So going back, what I usually do is I make sure I test the MCPs before we start running things. So here you can see it did some steps, and now the MCPs work. So MCPs work, and we can start doing things. Now I will bring a prompt here just for you to, and I will even run it and then read it out. So what we do here is that we use the brief skill. We mention it in the prompt, like this content brief skill, to create the topic, this topic we want, right? And we have here a previous article done, and we have some articles that we want to interlink to. So what it does now is it reads that skill MD that I showed you, and does the steps like all the other references and so on, and starts to scrape. So you see it's using Firecrawl scraper, which was this web scraping with markdown output. So it does all these steps. It searches also. So we just need to wait for it to do the full brief, and then we would go with the next step and so on. Now the beauty of Cowork and having extended context is that it can do this compact, and then it has this folder here. It's a local folder where it stores all the files that it created, so it can go back and take it from there. And then here I can see the connectors that work and the skills. So I can, and then later on here I will have outputs. So this is why Cowork is so good, because it can work on your computer, it can output it, take it from there, use skills, use connectors, use your Chrome even. So it's just like, you just need to know the use case and the workflow, and you can build a lot of automation. Here is the brief. So you have it in JSON, you have it also in CSV. Looks better if you open it in Google Sheet or something. And it has a markdown file just to tell you what was done. But what you need actually is JSON or CSV. I like more JSON because it's nested and better organized for AI. But in essence, you have a meta information, like what was used. You have some context. You have a heading. You have the heading structure. Then you have H1. What should be the opening? What keywords are we targeting with the whole article, and how many actual search volume is there? What's the n-grams that we use? They are like sequence of words that we want to use, similar to keywords but a bit different. Some comments like what kind of internal links we should add, and also then we go level 2, H2, like what's the actual heading, what should be explained, what is some kind of context. So you really have and what's the word target. So you need then another heading, and so on. So you see you have, and then even like where it should link. So it's quite good done here, the whole article. Now this is the initial one, and here the word count and the total word count. And this is all researched also with DataForSEO to tell us, okay, what's the approximate word count that we need so that we start ranking. It's not just randomly done. So now this was done, and we can continue in the same thread with another skill, and this time is SEO research and content research, because this is what we need to do next. And we just say here this should be done, skills should be used, MCPs should be used, and the JSON brief, it's the actual input. So of course Opus always, you can use Sonnet, but I find that with Opus it's much better results, especially in writing. So again, I don't need to give you like prompt engineering, because it's just, to be honest, plain text, because the prompt is in the skills. You just need to say use that skill. So you see here it reads the skills, and because I mentioned MCPs, it looks okay. Let me actually check that those tools, and I verified. That's why I'm verifying here if the tools work, because you need the tools to work before you start. So you have here, you see it's executing DataForSEO. If you check here, you have all the tools that is using for DataForSEO. It uses all the SERP, organic, live. So it uses keyword overview. It does, and then it asks Perplexity. It also does some Perplexity deep research later on. So it has a very clear understanding what needs to be done. And now it's because of context, and this is why you need Max, it's compacting, it's understanding all the data. If you don't use Max, you can still use it, but you need to open new conversation each time, right? So you need to save that JSON brief, open again another thread, upload it, do the skill, you save again that SEO research, content research, another thread for content, and so on. Like with Max, you can do everything in one thread, and it's just compacting, and also it has all the details in the file. So it's worth the investment if you do a lot of these articles. So the beauty of Claude Cowork is that you have these queues also. So if I put anything here, I can add it in the queue message. So if I have multiple steps, I can easily say, look, do this content research and then do fact check that content research, then do the next and the next and so on. And then I can give him like, this is what I want from you. So this is the actual steps that you still need to do. And I just queue everything and then leave, come back, and it will create this progress here, right? Here, you can see the progress. So it does the content research, does the fact check, and so on. So we have the final blog post. So this is the beauty of Cowork, that you can queue it, it can understand all the artifacts, all the skills, everything, and then you just have it blog post in the end, and then we can go into design and so on. So for now we just need this. We pause it, we wait, it does it, we come back and create the design. So here is the article. We started to get the final article. So as you can see, okay, you have here the meta description, you have the intro, you have a good article here that you can link to from Gartner as a good source. You start to get all the information, the pillars, and absolutely everything else, like the interlinking is there, nicely added, so on. So it starts to look good. In my view, the actual paragraphs are okay. With some graphs would be even better. We have pipelines and so on. So you have some more stuff here. And I went through it, and it's really good. And here it's also like diagram telling you like how to create the diagrams and so on. So that's also nice that you have the snippets for the diagram. And this is what will help us next, right? To do it. But before I prompt graph generation, look what I did here. Like I went and maybe it's a little bit, yeah, here. So I said, make sure you include the links and the sources, and make sure you verify these links, that these links work. Use Claude Chrome if needed to check it. So when you do this research, you can have a lot of 404s in the sources. So that's because maybe it's outdated, or they changed the links or whatever, or it just could be some hallucination. Now here you have the link verification summary. So it checked all the links and see that some of them were fixed, like some verified, and then like one of them was need to have a fix, and we removed 2 of them here because they didn't actually work, and there was no other article there. So you see, it's like checked it, and it's working. So then what I usually do is I add my own thoughts on the blog post. So, and now this is what it's doing, like it's adding that, and I'm also adding, hey, I want to have a readability of 4, and so that it's really good article in terms of readability. So now I have it, right? So now I have the final one, it's all good. And I would go in here and I say, please use the graphics generator skill and make 5 to 6. Let's say make 5 to 6 graphics for it, show it one by one in artifacts. Artifacts is this here, so I can see it and decide use the final HubSpot article for it. So now it will start to look at this article and look at the snippets, because that's how the SOP is done, with the snippets. So then now it knows, okay, what I need. It's reading the skill, it understands the graphic components. You see, it reads the article, and it will create a new to-do. You saw that here is it changed the to-do. So now it has a new to-do, and here the beauty of it is that you can always click this and add a particular comment on the progress itself while it's going on. So you can click on this comment icon, and yeah, on the fly you can do it. So now it's creating the files, and here you will see this JSX style. So if I click it, right, it's already creating it has in the SOP, it has our colors, type, how it should make the graphics. So that's why it's really good, right? So I took from Figma, I added it into the SOP, so it's creating this type of graphs, right? So it's creating one of them. So what I see, create all 6, and I decide later and give you feedback. So it can just create all of them, but I just wanted to show you quickly how nicely you can make it. So I don't want to go in detail into how I converted that into HubSpot, because maybe you use some other tool. Again, you can skip this, and you can make also images. You can take this and go into your model of choice and actually make the graph. But as of now, I think you learned quite a lot how to do it. Hit me up if you need the skills, or if you need any kind of examples. Obviously you need to edit them, but I did a lot of heavy lifting. So because you saw it till the end, I'm happy to share this workflow and the PowerPoint also, so you can enjoy and create amazing content for your business. Take care.